确实没有 T1 那么丰富 RS 这边。
Kind of boring, honestly. You got to pick up your game. Like
we need to
expecting some
RSG. They're the ones. They're the whiteboard team.
Yeah, so you got to compete with them now. You got to have some memes, maybe just have some stuff that can uplift you. So we don't got that. They just got the team name. Come on, where's the motivational stuff?
The winner of this series gets to play against RSG, so maybe if Xerxia is able to take it, then they can up the game to be able to match that. Got going. I'm keen to see how this one's going to turn out. Obviously, we're looking at Army Geniuses here. Narman, he is looking pretty happy there in the bottom left-hand corner. For those that aren't aware of him by the new name, it's Hustler. Had a few stints, of course, on SEA teams as well as in the European region. But he does kind of feel like the star player of this team, doesn't he?
Yes, without a doubt. And it's kind of felt like that with whatever team Narman is on, to be honest. Like, this is a person as a position 4. I mean, you take a look at other regions. You got FY, you got Crit, you got Fade, Baboka. Position 4s, they can really take over games, and I mean, Narman is no different at all in Southeast Asia. And we are well and truly into the draft. Army Geniuses on the rating side opened up with the Gyro Faceless Void and Xerxia into the Earthshaker and the Nature's Prophet on the Dire side. What are we chuckling at? What do we got here?
I mean, have you been watching some Army Geniuses gameplay so far in these qualifiers? I know you and I haven't really gotten to cast too much of it, but have you been watching? Because we know for them, when you see these two heroes, you might be thinking, what? 2 safe lane cores? How's this going to work? No. That's not how they look to go about it. It's the Narman Faceless Void that they like to bring out in that position 4. So they can, of course, flex it to the position 1 as well. But it's the same sort of thing with the Gyrocopter, right? That was one of the DB specialties that came out when it's paired together with an IO, for example. But IO not really in this meta right now, so I'm feeling like this is just going to be the support pairing that they've got with that flex capability.
How many times have they given Narman the Faceless Void? Because I know you mentioned yesterday. Twice? Okay. Wow. 2 times, maybe too many with the Faceless Void, but they've had success with it. So obviously
they're still in the tournament, aren't they?
Exactly. So maybe there's some recent success, and they feel it's
you literally try and have as close to 0 net worth as possible, and your team fight contribution is your ult, and that's it. All you're doing is pushing. I'm not sure how viable that is anymore now that they nerfed the Aghanim shard, so it doesn't give you the greater treants, because that was a big part of it, right? Like, you just get by the Aghanim shard, you buy a moon shard, and you feed it to yourself. You just basically only have like a Blightstone and maybe an attack speed item, like a minor one, like a Gloves of Haste or something, and then you're just pushing towers constantly. So probably a little bit less likely to go down that position 5 route these days, considering it's called the Curse of the Forest or something like that, is the new Nature's Prophet Aghanim Scepter. Curse of the Old Growth.
The Curse of the Old Growth, yeah. Definitely not the shard that was as broken as what it was beforehand here for Xerxia, but for either side, got a lot of team fight, and we've got some push coming out as well. Like you said, really, we're just looking at the flex. That's the main thing that both Army Geniuses and Xerxia put a lot of priority on in the first phase. So are there any second phase bans that really stand out?
Hold on a moment. Can we just go back to Teehee for a second there? On the position 5. Those are some nice mutton chops that my man has got going on right now. He is just rocking that style. I wish he could turn to the side so we just get a full sense of the glory. He emphasizes the jawline. Do you think I could pull that off?
No, I do not think so. Not
Yeah,
at all.
no, I can't. I can't pull off many S-stars, to be honest.
The the sideburns, was something popular when you were growing up as a boomer yourself.
Okay, yeah. No, the sideburns have never been popular, dude. I try and keep them as short as possible. In all seriousness, I think this game it's going to be Rapido playing the Nature's Prophet, just because it's going to be a pretty decent response to the gyro, right? If you're liking to play it on Varese in the laning stage, then obviously you're not really wanting to use the flak cannon all that much. It's more around the rocket barrage and the homing missile. Rocket barrage, if you've got a bunch of treants, they're going to be soaking up a lot of this damage, and I feel like Nature's Prophet works kind of well together with the Shaker, right? Not only do you have the Fisher to go for some of these block-off attempts, but you've also got all of the individual treants as well. So maybe this is going to be a game where, you know, this is the mid-Ember Spirit to be able to deal with the treants a little bit, assuming it's going to be a core, but perhaps they actually do flex this to be a position 1 gyrocopter, and then just actually go that flak cannon build into the Nature's Prophet so that you can deal with the treants.
And look at the response from Xerxia. Pretty goddamn fast with the Invoker. Got a great matchup versus the... Oh, no.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it to come through from Wommy. He's been spamming this recently. And anytime you go a little bit too single target, and as long as you got an eye on that Earthshaker to make sure that there's no massive Echo Slams coming out, it's going to be a really effective game for this Broodmother. He goes down 2 different routes. It's either the Orchid into the BKB, and then it's just like picking off these heroes that have a pretty pathetic escape attempt. Otherwise, it's just around getting into the Wraith Pact and then just pure aura items and looking to shove out lanes that way. I think this game it's probably going to be around the aura items just because, like I was saying, they don't really have that effective tools to be able to deal with this constant Broodmother push in a lane.
It's Radiant's band now.
It's something that definitely Southeast Asia are not shy about picking up. I mean, you see the likes of Lilgun, you'd always be forced to ban the Broodmother in the first phase, and it put teams in a position where you had to learn how to play against the hero. And we even saw a lot of other teams be able to play it as well. I mean, Army Geniuses, like you mentioned, Wommy really likes it. DB plays it as well. So what can they do to now protect the Broodmother? Because this is a hero that you really want to make sure he gets off to a good game. So do you feel like the Naga and Slark are enough bans, and did they leave something else in the pool?
I'm just trying to think who exactly is playing what right now, right? So if Army Geniuses, it's going to be Azura Ember, Wommy Broodmother. I'm assuming that it's going to be the position 1 gyrocopter and then a 4 faceless void. So do you want to do a 1 faceless void now? Because in the one game that they played faceless void as a carry, they lost that one. In both of the games that they played it as a position 4, they won. So are they just going to be influenced a little bit too much by that? Is this a position 5 Viper as well that you're going up against, which makes a pos for Faceless Void's life pretty damn miserable? A lot of ifs, buts, and maybes coming through, but Army Geniuses, they're going to be the one with the last pick overall, so they're going to be able to shape up the lanes how they best see fit. It's a Monkey King coming through. So again, just if you're going this dual melee lane, this is probably one of the better options, and it's a nice way to be able to clear out some of these creep waves too.
Yep.
He's very happy, kind of living up to his name with that little chuckle there.
10 seconds.
Like, why would you not be happy with the draft like this?
5 seconds.
You mentioned the Viper Monkey King to be able to lean into the Broodmother Faceless Void. Feels like that's going to be a strong advantage for Xerxia, but the Weaver definitely makes this a little bit more difficult now to call. It will be a DB Weaver as well. So we're going to have a Gyro and a Faceless Void to deal on Army Geniuses.
Let's go. I mean, this is Army. You knew this was coming, man. You knew, like, if you didn't come into this series thinking we weren't going to see some jank come out from these supports, you haven't been watching SEA Dota. So this is really interesting to see how it's all going to pan out for them. I'm a little bit worried about the dual melee into the well, it's actually a Monkey King 5 coming through from Teehee here, paired together with a position 1 Nature's Prophet. So how's that going to work?
I don't particularly like that. I really was a big fan of the Monkey Viper lane.
Me too. Especially considering, like, yeah, dual melee, you want those 2 heroes into that, right? Like, it's just so dominant. guess into the Faceless Void, the Nature's Prophet still feels pretty good, but I feel like you've given up a big opportunity as well.
Yeah, because they've got a lot of heroes on Army Geniuses that can get on top of Ken. Like in a game like this is a very, very difficult core Nature's Prophet game to be playing in particular position 1 Nature's Prophet, where you are the right-clicking hero. Like you're not building those aura items, Wraith Pack to be able to help sustain and group up as a team. So he's the one dealing a lot of the physical damage in these fights. In Army Geniuses, you can send the Broodmother summons at him, Ember can Remnant on top. You even got the pressure of like Naaman just dropping Chrono on your head. So I'm a bit concerned. Like obviously this lane, it should go pretty well. The Earthshaker with the Viper against the Weaver, I feel like that's going to be a fine lane, but they needed to body the Broodmother, and without playing the Monkeys a 1, I don't know if they're going to be able to do that.
Yeah, no, it's certainly going to be pretty interesting. I mean, maybe it's going to be playing around having a little bit more levels by playing in the lane a bit more power. You're going to try and address the Broodmother a little bit, like try and lock him down with your okay amount of stuns that you've got coming through. And then if you can't get the Insatiable Hunger off because you're in a Sprout, then your survivability isn't as good. Trying to theorize a little bit here, but and I actually haven't cast a Broodmother game since they buffed up the minimum movement speed bonus as well. So I want to see how much that actually influences.
Yeah, same actually. I don't even remember the changes from Broodmother because we haven't had the opportunity to cast her at all. Does look like there's a couple. We'll see. We'll see how Wami's looking to set up. What are they doing? Wami's not doing up to his shenanigans running mid, is he? He's just kind of maybe getting in the minds of Xerxia.
I mean, you see the bottle being queued up by the Ember Spirit, so you'd assume that he's still going to be mid. The thing is, you just can't really go the Flame Guard into this Invoker now, right? He's just going to dispel it off every single time with the Tornado, so it's going to be much more of the right-click build. Not that you hate that, right? You still need to deal with, especially as a position 1 Nature's Prophet, the Treants, who are going to be rampaging a little bit more often, as well as it's just going to be some extra damage inside of that Chronosphere too, just with the slight spam from the outside.
Okay,
See how this one's able to shape up. Will be a 2 for 2 in regards to the bounties. Nothing crazy going on, it looks like, with the lane shenanigans as well. Everything comfortable from either side. Either intrigued to see how this Faceless Void's able to, at least how Army Geniuses can execute it, because I know you said that they've picked it up multiple times and had success on it. I didn't have the opportunity to get to see these games, so, and again, we were kind of speaking about it in the pregame, like Naaman is that person to always look out for. He's really the one that can bring teams to the forefront and take the game, so I'm excited to see what he can do with the Void.
I have faith in Naaman. You know, no matter what he does, he always seems like he's able to get some success coming through. Getting a little bit of harass here is Variz, making sure to keep that camp locked up. So nice scout out of the Sentry Ward. His job a little bit more challenging as he tries to go for the body block, and he'll be successful on this bottom side of the map. But yeah, it's all about just trying to get some of that early pressure into Rapido, specifically at level 2. They just want to make sure that the lane's in a good spot. As soon as you got that rocket barrage and probably the swarm, that's going to look to blow in and quickly burst down Rapido before he gets too out of control.
Is this an easy lane though for DB? Because I feel like he might struggle if they've got sentry control. As soon as he pops Sakuchi, and if Lucify's in a good position with the fissure, you land the stun, then Rapido can start to stack up the poison attack, and DB could be in trouble then.
Do you think they're going to have full sentry control though? I think it's mainly just going to be around this this camp, right? They want to make sure that they can influence it to pull it back towards them as much as possible. They're missing out on the homing missile there from Variz. Ended up getting killed. Vito as well as Lucify. But yeah, I don't think they can actually afford to just put them in the lane. It's going to set the Earthshaker back too far. Like, he's already had to buy 3 sentry wards just to try and keep this camp available to them. And, well, it's still obviously not going to be for the next little bit of time.
Look at how top lane's shaping up. Some shenanigans there. Nama just looking to drag the wave under the tower. While me at the moment doesn't feel comfortable with playing the lane. And this is kind of to be expected though with the Broodmother. Like this is a hero that definitely has fallen off with the prowess in the laning stage. But as soon as you get that level 6, then you're online, and it's very difficult for anyone else to be able to deal with. So it'll be interesting to see how they can get him to that stage. A little bit of damage onto T here for the moment.
No real amazing slows just that yet, though, right? You've got the Silken Bowler, but no might be able to get some success through from that. Of course, the Flame Guard now doesn't completely stop the damage coming through, so Cold Snap is still going to be quite effective against it. Zura actually being bullied away from the lane by both of these supports. Is he going to go for the slight refill play? No. Accomplish it. Important just to make sure that your mana reserves are still somewhat decent for the laning stage. Third point into the Sleight of Fist now, and trying to take advantage of out-sustaining an Invoker, a Quaswex Invoker in lane, which is pretty damn challenging.
He will have that level 6 at least coming up shortly for Azura, but it's probably going to be 2 waves until he gets it, so might have some issues. JJ, this is going to give him an opportunity at least to be able to continue harassing, being that nuisance. Bottom lane, Lucifer is in a bit of trouble for the moment. He's able to get back to the T2 tower. Repeater's the one that's in trouble. Look at the damage racking up, but Lucifer turns it around, stands his ground, and slams away the life of the Weaver.
Manned up onto him. This is what I was talking about. I really wanted him to put a point into the Swarm because you're very immobile heroes with the Earthshaker and the Viper early on, and you're forced to be right-clicking a creep. That's just a couple of extra hits that you're getting through with the Weaver. You don't really need the Geminate attack if you're looking to go for that first blood, which I feel if you go on this position 5 Gyro, you got to be getting kills out of the lane. Not really that traditional 5 by any means.
I 100% agree. Like, he's the person in the predictions I put for him to have the most magic or pure damage at 10 minutes, because I thought the same thing. Like, this is a hero that just needs to be getting incredibly aggressive with the early points in the Rocket Barrage and the homing missile.
Feels a little bit like the Crystal Maiden, doesn't it? Where, like, if you just don't have that early game in,
So there's no threat of the turnaround, but Azura's going to look to jump in. The Ember Spirit, they're not going to have the stun lock to be able to deal with Azura. He can remnant out, targeting down Ken, but they're lacking the stun to deal with the Nature's Prophet. So instead, they'll chase down the Earthshaker in the river.
A lot committed just for a couple of supports. You know, I know it's a gyro and a faceless for you. You can't let them get out of control because inherently their cores, they're going to scale quite well as we get to the later stages. So much the gyro. Have a look at the net worth. Not looking that great at all. But yeah, you end up getting a support and a core in response to that. As for your previous question of how are they going to be able to deal with this Broodmother, I think what Ken's got queued up is the answer. He's gone the Glypnir. So you just need something that's going to provide a little bit of that extra control, not only just for the damage that it does on use as well as the Maelstrom passive, but even just things like holding things
There's ever been no answer to the Ember. Zero playing an exceptional game, and this is what we've come to expect from him, though. His Ember Spirit, one of the best around in Southeast Asia.
Honestly, all of his spirits, right? We've seen times where he, on a Storm Spirit, was actually beating Quaps in lane, which is pretty much been going for them, and the fact that this wasn't even their first choice roster to be able to go into these qualifiers. Specialist array is going to be a nice little ramp up in damage, though. Xerxia giving it over to Ken. Just all of that extra, just pure damage, a little bit of extra stats as well, and just damage output from those multiple extra hits.
Yeah, what can Xerxia do with this Nature's Prophet? Because, again, Ken, he had an incredible lane, beating the Broodmother, but now he's fallen a little bit behind in net worth. Still is around there at the top, but what can Xerxia do with this farm Nature's Prophet?
It's a really good question, right? Because he is the one that's going to be able to deal with this Broodmother that's just taking all of your towers, but you need to be... You're the only one playing on value item that's useful
Down bottom?
now because
for tower killing off the Viper, and the DB solo kills the Invoker down bottom. Like, it's just crumbling here for Xerxia.
Azura just dies on purpose. Wanted to make sure that the Aegis popped off when he wasn't in a super vulnerable position. Only had about 45 seconds left on it. But yeah, like, I understand being a little bit down now to make sure that you're successful later, but there's not going to be a later if you don't have someone that's able to respond to this. Like I was saying before, Nature's Prophet wants to be on the other side of the map. Earthshaker does have the Blink Dagger, so this smoke, seconds left on it, but they've got what they wanted. They're happy enough to back up. And that's the call from Narman. Get back, he says. Folk is about to respawn, as they haven't seen the Shaker in quite some time. They've already gotten that tier 3 tower, so they can feel pretty satisfied with themselves.
This is all going to come down to just a combo out from Lucifer in the fights. Maybe with the meatball damage as well from the Invoker. He's only got 4 points in the Exort at the moment, so...
If that courier dies, it's...
He's in trouble. They're just going to drop the
chrono.
Narman. They don't have a care in the world because Variz is to the north. They can drop the call down, and Wami's playing the distance. Once they bring the Nature's Prophet down low, the Brew can easily step in under the tier 2 tower. And now they're even going to go for Rapido. He ventures outside the base, and Azura will make sure next life he'll stick back behind the safety of the high ground.
And they could just take all of their outer towers now on Army Geniuses. Like, you can go mid, of course, if you want to. But if you're going to use a glyph to try and slow down this push now, you've already lost a tier 3 tower. There's no more refreshes coming beyond that. So Wami's just going to continue to place himself down here at bot lane. They're going to path up to top. They're going to be maybe waiting to play around the second Roshan and then end the game off of the back of that. Sunstrikes just for a single range creep. How desperate they are for any farm. At least you've got the BKB now on JG. Perhaps respond to all these slows, the roots, the lockdown coming through from Army Geniuses. But it's rough.
Oh, no.
Oh, the Force!
Holy, that would have been a... Oh, what a play that would have been. Oh my...
Wonder if he could have force-staffed his missile instead. You know you could do that.
Yeah, Azura is under the Observer. Lucifer with the Echo Slam, the chain control for the Boundless Strike.
All right.
They get the kill. And now with the Weaver silence as well for the moment. But she's pretty tanky. He's not going to be tanky enough. Xerxia sense an opportunity for them to be able to invade back into their jungle. And they get 2 gigantic kills.
Sure. Finally getting value out of that Blink Dagger. This is the big weakness for the Earthshaker that I was talking about. He had basically provided nothing up until that stage of the game, and it's still the same. anything again. You know, these respawn timers, 24, 25 minutes into the game, they're still short enough that you could just group back up again and go. Like, what did you really expend for that? Not much. Call down for a kill at the bot side.
Will clean up the remaining components in this top lane. As what a great read for the lads on Radiant. Just dangling the Weaver's life inside the lane. They connected fast enough, the 4 staff to allow him to get the time lapse off, and then we're there to take the fight.
Just had a bit more tanky items in his inventory as well there. Obviously finishing up the Hurricane Pike gives him that little bit of extra HP from that. I think he switched up his neutral items as well, previously holding onto the Dagger of Restore. Now he had the Ring of Aquila for all that extra armor, that tiny bit of extra HP. That was the difference. Like, he barely got out of that one alive, and it's all on the back of these micro decisions. They go for him again. No, completely scouted out by Nam, and Therese is just going in.
Look at a double boundless. We'll give them some distance to be able to retreat. Fissure as well. Covering, but it's not enough. Rapido chase down. Meanwhile, DB gets a kill onto Tihi. Both supports killed off. It's up to the cause now to defend the base.
Glowing mass of spiders just coming out with the Piper on. Not quite there anymore, but this is... What do you look to use the glyph onto? It might need to be this wave. Complete understanding of exactly where Ken is. Have anywhere near enough to be able to get into that AC, but at least he's got the Hyperstone. A little bit of extra damage perhaps for the next team fight. But again, is there going to be another team fight?
He's in the snare. I don't know if you can run like this. Oh boy. I understand. He's trying to do whatever he can to stall it out. Invoker, one of the better high ground defenders, but and they have, again, the capability for Army Geniuses just to play range. Makes it very difficult. If Invoker just oversteps the mark for 1 second, they will instantly stun him and force a BKB like we just saw.
So yeah, glyph used, BKB used, map control, it's yours. You know that the Nature's Prophet isn't scaling, Roshan's up, everything just... They've got the read on Army Geniuses of exactly how they want to play this game.
And they also know exactly where Xerxia are as well. The Earthshaker ran inside to spin a snare. They got the ping on side the map.
Could look to pop the smoke as well with the reverse time walk if you want.
And they're onto Varese. They should have stopped. The gyrocopter will be brought down. Azura is going to be able to remnant over the fissure block. Trying to target down JG for the moment. The Invoker without the BKB. So Azura recognize this is free pickings for him to be able to secure the kill. Now inside the... Done. And off to the left side, Ken is trying to get a kill on Narman. It's just a support face as Zoid. And they won't even kill off Narman. And they call it.
That's a GG. Yeah, it's well worth the GG call as well. They just got completely outplayed on Xerxia this game. And yeah, pre-30 minutes. Not too often that we see a few of those games come through, but they just nuts. I don't know how better else to say it. You know, mid lane went far better than it probably had any right to, and really shows the importance of securing those power runes, because the start of the game wasn't going too bad for JG. You know, he was